Let's get ready to remake! Welcome to the Remake Revolution here on McGTV. Again, youtube.com/MikeMcGTV. I am your host, Mike McG, here on McGTV. Follow me over on Twitter at MikeMcGTV. And I am joined here on the second episode of this brand new Remake podcast with my cohorts from NeverEndingRadicalDude.com, Mr. Jason Fury and Mr. Mark Espinoza.
Rat off.
I can't top that.
So,
I'll try not to be a fantastic bore.
Foreshadowing.
Four scores. I got nothing.
So, Jason, you are the editor-in-chief of NeverEndingRadicalDude.com. Are there any huge writing projects or multimedia projects that you guys are developing right now?
Yeah, right now, over on NeverEnding Radical Dude, we're starting to do a lot more video content. We're trying to keep up with the kids here. So we got some new shows cracking over there that are going to have a lot of episodes real soon. We got one called Nerd 30, which is kind of a drunk versus style episode where we just argue points. Like the first episode was about Gotham. Is it good? Is it bad? And we just kind of get drunk and argue about it. And then we have one called Cooler Than Cooler, which is just kind of like a podcast, but you get to look at us, which is, kind of a treat for you guys. Just guys. Oh yeah, we got like kind of a little Pokemon one going on because nobody cares about it anymore, so we thought we'd release them now.
Now's the time to jump in on it.
Perfect timing. We're really quick.
As soon as a trend is bloated and dying, that's when you come in and keep beating the dead horse.
Yeah. Like we're more about like when things aren't popular, we start covering them.
Nice. Yeah. Mark, any projects in the pipes for you?
Nope.
Well, you're part of all the things I said above, except the Pokemon one because nobody wants to do it.
Yes. No, I don't even know how to do the Pokemon.
You just talk about it. That's it.
Talk about it. Yeah.
Do you like it?
The new season of TV is starting, so that's gonna be taking up a lot of my time on NeverEnding Radical Dude.
Oh yeah, a lot of reviews coming out. Oh, you're covering almost the entirety of the CW network.
Yeah, and they all air this week. Come over to NeverEndingRadicalDude.com to see more riveting entertainment like that.
Gentlemen, thank you so much, and welcome to your episode of Remake Revolution. Now, the idea here is I gave the three geeks guys a shot at a remake, and I wanted to give you guys a shot at a remake before we start crossing over camps and getting a representative from each camp on each episode, as it were. So, testing the waters with you guys here. And you actually came at me with a couple of suggestions for this episode of Remake Revolution. And I figured out of all of them, they're all great ideas and all worthy of their own meaty episode. I figured a good one to kind of start off on here was an infamous superhero team. A fantastic team, if you will. A team, a quartet that hasn't been quite so fantastic on the big screen, you could argue. I am, of course, talking about
X-Men.
X-Men, yes. Of course. No, we're talking about Fantastic Four. Or as it was known in 2015, Fan-4-Stick.
Oh,
really?
Well, yeah, because that horrible logo design.
Yeah.
Fan-4-Stick.
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 But before we get into what we would do with this property, just really quickly, what are you guys' initial impressions of the movie versions of the Fantastic Four that we've had so far?
Oh boy. Well, I'm just going to start this off on a weird note. I actually liked the remake of Fantastic Four. I'm sorry.
Cool.
Yeah, wow. I was like, did it go? I was like, did you guys get disconnected? What happened here?
Nah,
no, flank him, Mike.
I'm not judging.
I like the remake. I feel like it was kind of trying to, reinvent and kind of be in keeping with the modern day style of superhero movies. And I don't know. I don't think it was bad as people thought it was, or people talked about it being. So that's where I'm coming from.
That's it. That's your whole background. What about the Tim Story ones?
Well, I thought they were too campy. It was like kind of the same time whenever someone was doing a comic book movie, they felt like they had to overdo the comic book aspect of it. Like it had to be very campy, it had to be very silly. Like they hadn't found their proper in between melding of a serious movie and a comic book genre movie. So I think those movies were kind of on the tail end of the new generation of comic book movies that are much better. I mean, Marvel wise. So I don't know. I feel like they're kind of relics of an older time in Hollywood. I'm not really getting what to do with comic book movies.
Interesting theory.
It's fact.
I'm just kidding. Anything else? Because I got some sense to throw.
Oh no, yeah, please. Let's go back and forth on this.
So yeah, starting with the we watched. We're just gonna. I'm assuming we're all gonna ignore that really old one that never really came out, right?
Yeah.
Because that one smelled like old beef chowder.
I'll get to it, but go ahead, Jason.
Okay. Well, I watched that one. Actually, it was kind of fun, but I had a lot of alcohol when I watched it with friends, so I don't know. That could have been why it was fun. But jumping in with the Tim Story ones, I own them both. I like them. I enjoyed them. I think that, as a comic book reader, I was never huge into Fantastic Four, mainly because it was the super colorful family book, and I really didn't read comics to get family values. So it was kind of weird. Characters were always really cool and colorful, but I just never connected to the book. I actually kind of liked the Tim Story ones, both of them, even the one with Silver Surfer in it. I don't think they were great. I can't really argue that they were wonderful, but it was kind of like a guilty pleasure, I guess. I thought the casting was spot on with those. And then the new one that came out, I thought it wasn't as bad as people said it was, but I thought it was pretty unenjoyable. It was you're talking about harkening back to not understanding how movies work. I kind of disagree with that, because I think the formula for this new one was kind of what's not working with a lot of films, is just go super dark. We got another origin, which we absolutely don't need for the Fantastic Four. We just don't. We don't need it. I just thought it was way too moody, way too kind of dark, which kind of in turn made the comic beats in it not really work. They felt out of place. And the characters just didn't have good screen chemistry. It wasn't horribly cast, except for Jamie Bell. That I have no idea why he was the thing. That makes no sense to me. But I thought the cast other than that was fine. It wasn't I don't think there's any big craziness going on there. I thought they all did an all right job. I don't know. And that movie was just it was super short. It seemingly got butchered by the studios, which is what I read. But I think that's just what directors say when their movies fail, because I don't know how you could have made that movie much different, not necessarily better or worse. I don't know. So I'm a decent fan of those original two movies back in the heyday when X-Men and Spider-Man were swinging around, and the new one was okay. I wouldn't mind seeing it continue, but I could do for a remake. That's why I'm here.
Oh, that's why you're here.
That's it.
Yep. That's why.
Life in general, not this. Just that's why I was born for this moment.
Oh, yeah, that's what I thought you meant. Okay.
It's all been building up to this.
This is it.
My kind of thoughts on the franchise, I guess, was that, I remember seeing the Roger Corman one, a bootleg of it. It's definitely very low quality, but for a film that was never intended to be released, there's stuff about it I enjoy in a kind of cheesy, corny way. It's fine.
Its heart was in the right place.
Yeah, it's got the best of intentions, but it wasn't served well by the budget, let's say. I agree with you, Jason. I find the Tim Story stuff to be enjoyably stupid fun. There's stuff about it I really like. I thought Chris Evans was perfectly fine as Johnny Storm, and I enjoyed Michael Chiklis as the Thing. I thought those were the best characters in the whole franchise at that point, and it worked for me. I was never, like you, I was never really a Fantastic Four kid growing up. I was more of a Spider-Man guy. I never got into, like you said, the zany family fun aspect of the Fantastic Four. I just couldn't bring myself to really enjoy much of the newest incarnation. I appreciated that it had ambitious ideas with regards to the science and with regards to some pretty horrific stuff that happens to the characters in their transformation. It's very Cronenberg, and I could at least appreciate that aspect of it, but it was a little bit too dark, and I feel the Fantastic Four is a difficult balancing act. And also what you're kind of saying of I wouldn't mind it continuing, but I feel it needs a refocusing, as it were. And right. I feel the way you do it is actually what we'll probably maybe get into here with our first round for our remake of the Fantastic Four property, In the Pitch.
The wind-up, the pitch.
So basically here in the first round of the pitch, we're going to go around here and talk about a little how we would want to approach this new vision for the Fantastic Four. What would kind of stay the same from previous incarnations? What would change? How would we want to tell the story? I'm actually going to start off with Jason for this one. How would you pitch a brand new Fantastic Four franchise?
Jason won the coin toss. First and foremost, you got to start with the root, I think. It's a comic book. It needs to be colorful, classic, iconic, Fantastic Four. I think that we're in an age where we can get rid of this whole everything's got to be like black leather, dark, moody. Even like Superman's colors are like toned down. Everybody's colors are like toned down, and they're kind of they're trying to be like more real world. I think you need to throw that shit out. Oh, shit. Can I say shit? Shit.
Yes.
Good, because I just did 4 times. Throw all that out the window, because we need iconic versions of these characters, bright blues, bright orange thing. We need the fire just roaring, and we need the sharp gray on the side of Mr. Fantastic's head. We just need it to be iconic looking, right? And just own it, because it works. Like, we've learned this from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that these characters are modernized. That's fine, but Iron Man looks like Iron Man. Captain America looks like Captain America. Hawkeye looks like that guy that gives you shots at the Oh, wait. Okay, they messed up Hawkeye, but you know what I mean. Just own it.
Jason Bourne.
Yeah, he looks like he does. Isn't boring. Just get that out of their head and make a really classic version. And I also think they need to focus on the science aspect here. Like, really make this a sci-fi movie first, and then featuring these superhero characters. And I'm kind of torn a little bit between, because I think the cast obviously is going to make it or break it for this. I'm torn between 2 concepts. I'm not going to get into like characters yet, because I know that's coming up, but I'm kind of torn between starting with all completely unknown actors and having like a really young cast and kind of restart this and make it a young team, a lot like the comic book. Remember, I don't know if anybody read Ultimate Fantastic Four, but as a comic fan who's not that into Fantastic Four, Ultimate was probably my favorite version. I believe Brian Michael Bendis started it, and then we got some Warren Ellis stuff, and then Mark Millar stuff after that, and then after about volume 7 or 8 it kind of dipped. But those first like 5 or 6 collective volumes were solid Fantastic Four, arguably the best stuff that I've seen so far.
Oh, I love them. That's where they introduced the whole Marvel zombie idea.
Yeah, totally. With Magneto and everything, that was such a great art. And I would be 100% down for them just straight up ripping that off and doing that version. So my pitch is really to stick classic, but like I said, we'll get into it with characters if we do go like an older route. I mean, this is kind of a flimsy pitch because it's like there's 2 of them. The other one would be if you're going to go with older actors, and if you're going to go with older actors and have them established Fantastic Four and skip the origin completely, I think that they should be probably pretty well-known actors and people that we can already relate to, and just skip that whole origin business and just get to them as people in this universe and just have them doing their thing right out the gate. The accident can even happen later in their lives. They don't have to be like kids when they do it. My point is, they need to make it extremely classic and iconic looking and have a hardcore like sci-fi feel to it.
All right. Mark, your take or pitch.
I think in this whole current climate of like remakes and reboots where we have had 2 different Spider-Men, I think that in this, like, we need to kind of call out the whole thing that's been going on. So what I think that we should do is, I don't think we recast, we get the cast from the reboot back. But what we do is we establish this idea of multiple realities. So you have like the original, like you have the cast members kind of trying to flee their Earth, jumping to another reality. And you have like 80% of the movie of them interacting with alternate versions of Fantastic Four people. So you don't have like one Reed Richards, you have maybe 10 Reed Richards, because there was an awesome Jonathan Hickman story that was like the Council of Reeds, where like you find out that alternate versions of Reed Richards have all kind of gotten together to form one collective organization of like Reed Richards peoples. So you have them kind of like traveling into like this alternate reality, like mid-world, where there are many Fantastic Four people, many Reed Richards.
Is that what led into the Secret Wars event? recently?
No, it was early, but it was kind of that did kind of play on it a little bit where there was
that was when they're in their white uniforms, right?
Kind of a little bit before that, yeah.
It was before that because I know Hickman rebooted it with that not that long ago.
But so then you kind of have like this like subtle little dig into the whole idea of them jumping ship from one studio to the other. Because in my ideal pitch, they're making the way to the Marvel universe. So then you can have something like a little subtle like dig at Fox being like, our world has been destroyed because it couldn't sustain itself anymore. So now we're looking for a new reality. Yeah,
it'd be a jab at the cast that's currently playing the characters.
Well, no, it's a jab at the studio that couldn't really do them justice. So because you have the actors back, so they're like, good enough to keep going and survive their world, but they're not able to stay in the golden reality.
So when the dust settles, even though there's multiple versions, we're going to settle on that cast again?
I think you're going to settle on them, but then it ends with them arriving into the Marvel universe. Because if you have Doctor Strange kind of playing with the idea of multiple realities, and you have Ant-Man kind of also touching upon that, I think the next logical step is to have the Fantastic Four show up into the MCU from a different reality, being like, oh shit, okay, this is kind of wild. Like, who the hell are you people? So then you don't have to do a new origin. You don't have to do a retelling of who they are. It's you already gotten that, but now you have them in the MCU in a way that kind of makes sense of how they got there.
All right.
Yeah. So you want them in the MCU universe, huh?
I do.
Film universe.
Yeah.
You've thrown down an interesting challenge here, Mark. So in other words, this is going to feed in directly to your other choices for the following rounds, with regards to casting and with regards maybe even to director and direction for the franchise, because you're saying to kind of take a pre-existing version and have it kind of be transitioned into another already existing universe. That's going to be interesting discussion in the other rounds here. Here is kind of my pitch then, is that it's a little bit of what you all said too. It's that, yes, I feel that an integration with the MCU is necessary for Fantastic Four, especially. That is the property that's been so closely tied, not just with Marvel Comics for a long time, but with the Marvel superhero community in the universe. Is that whenever someone has a problem, they go to the Fantastic Four. Whenever, they need the scientific know-how, they go to Reed Richards or whatever, and there's relationships and character development established through people's connection to the Fantastic Four. I feel, yes, Mark, integration into the MCU is essential for a revitalized Fantastic Four franchise. Not quite.
But don't you think people are tired of seeing recasting and new actors kind of just be like, hey, okay, we know that you're sick of it, so here are the old actors, but now we're gonna bring them into a new world.
That's what I'm saying. That would be an interesting angle to go with, but we'll get to discuss that too a little bit. But I'm also on the side of Jason, where it's that have the characters already be established in a way. If you were kind of saying either go with unknowns or skip the origin entirely and use established actors or established names to kind of ingratiate yourself to the characters, because that's kind of where I'm towing the line there, Mark, is that I feel you're right. It's okay, maybe we're getting tired of constantly recasting the role, but if the actor is good enough, they can instantly, kind of like what Tony Stark and Robert Downey Jr. did for us in that first Iron Man, you instantly get that character, get into that character based off of the personality of the actor utilizing it. So
yeah, I think I like the concept of having them. I think it'd be interesting. I like Mark's idea that they're already established through the previous movie. I like that concept, but I would go further and say I'd like the Fantastic Four to already have lived through the origin, lived through a lot of trials and tribulations with villains and stuff, and then got like pulled into the MCU, but not from that last movie, because I think it was kind of a dud. But I think like having, and I think it'd be cooler, like what I was saying, just to be like an older version of all these characters and come in as the most like iconic version of themselves into that universe. I think that would work really well. But I just think that there's just too much baggage with that old cast and that old film for general audiences to really be excited about seeing them playing in that universe.
I have a potential compromise that maybe we can get into in the discussion portion. Actually, something just came to mind.
I wonder if you're going to say what I'm thinking, because I also have a compromise.
We'll get to that in discussion, but what I was
My
saying with
foot is planted.
Obviously.
No, I'll compromise. Let's hear it later.
What you were saying, Jason, about the integration of they've already had adventures and stuff established is that you don't get to them right away in their own movie. You hint the way they've been doing in the MCU. You hint at them being around. Like maybe you hear about the cosmic ray incident taking place on the news, like, oh, the shuttle's in peril or whatever. Reed Richards and his team are in peril, blah, 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 or whatever they decide to do. If they decide to go the Planet Zero route again or something. Like, oh, the experiment was a failure. We don't know if these people are dead or not. And then you just hear, like, rumblings of, like, oh, rock monster or whatever and everything like that. And then I'm thinking, well, it'd be kind of cool if we get this far, which we probably will, round out Phase 4 with a Fantastic Four film. It probably isn't possible, but it would be nice kind of poetic justice, like you were saying, for that. It's like, sure, certainly, yeah, to introduce the Fantastic Four towards the end of Phase 4 would be a nice culmination of a lot of things.
Oh, Phase 4 Marvel. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Where are they now? They're Phase 3? Doctor Strange?
Yeah, they just started Phase 3.
Which will end in, like, Infinity War?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, because they were just saying that Wasp was going to jump in Phase 4 with potentially a fourth Avengers movie, which is probably just going to be a bunch of B-rate action heroes plopping around.
But that is my pitch for that, is that don't get to them right away, but kind of build them up a little bit. Make people want to anticipate a Fantastic Four movie instead of saying, like, oh, this again.
Yeah, just have, like, a tear in reality and have them, like, crash into the universe fighting Doctor Doom and just messing stuff up, and then they dust themselves off after they defeat him, and everyone's like, who are you? And they're like, I'll tell you who I am. I'm with the Fantastic Four. Who are you? Where am I? And then they're like, what the heck? And then they're stuck there.
You're jumping the gun to my compromise, man.
Sorry, got excited. You should see my pants.
We've discussed our pitches. Now let's move to the direction, or the director.
Lights, camera, action.
Who would we want to helm this new vision? Either a well-established director or someone striking out to make their first official hit. Whatever you feel would be appropriate for relaunching Fantastic Four. Let's start with Jason.
I'm spoiled.
Yeah,
it'll be just short and sweet. I don't really have like a dream director, but if someone would like put a gun in my head and say, pick somebody right now, I'd probably say Matthew Vaughn, just because he's got experience making really sweet kind of movies that are kind of just like right outside the norm, with X-Men First Class and Kick-Ass and The Kingsman. I think he handles action really well. I think he handles ensembles really well, which is what this movie is going to be all about. And I think he could put like a different spin, I think, on these characters and really do the research and get a really fun movie out there. You know, while I say it's like grounded in like these family morals, and, you know, I think people that are like lifelong Fantastic Four fans may want to see that. I would be willing to compromise and have something a little edgier, but, you know, stick to the comedy and kind of have that in there still. But I think Matthew Vaughn would be probably the best choice that I can think of at the moment.
Mark?
Well, in keeping with my idea of like shattered realities and multiple like versions of them kind of interacting with each other and like universes toppling into one another, I'm kind of thinking of Michel Gondry. Just it would be kind of like weird and like eccentric, but like very mind-bending. Realities kind of flipping on top of each other. So that's kind of who I go to when I think of that kind of stuff.
Bold.
Zesty.
This is another one to compromise, but I'm willing to concede my first choice in favor of actually one of the choices you all mentioned. You know what, I originally had Spielberg in mind for this. It'd be kind of interesting to have like a fantastical type of director. I know it's a very long stretch, and it's probably something that he wouldn't even be interested day one in even tackling. He would probably want to create his own original thing. And the more I'm thinking about it, it's like, yeah, it'd be kind of cool to get his Spielbergian quality into a superhero film finally. But you know what? I'll concede to the Matthew Vaughn choice, actually. Because now that I'm thinking about it, it's like, yeah, he has balanced kind of team efforts really well in the past. And there is a lot of energy, but also like positive energy going for his productions for the most part. But we'll definitely come back to that to kind of see if that stands through the rest of these rounds or not. So we have a choice of either Matthew Vaughn or Michel Gondry from Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Moving on to the third round, which is the cast.
From Brad Pitt to Joyce DeWitt, it's time to meet your cast.
So basically, who are the actors, actresses that we feel could do an awesome job with these particular characters? And for this, let's say, focus on the core 4 members of the team and maybe 1 or 2 characters, a villain perhaps, or important supporting character. Let's go with Mark, but it's interesting because you've already said you wanted a continuation of Trank's Fantastic Forecast.
The compromise I kind of was finding when I was coming up with this idea was that if the remake versions of the Fantastic Four are jumping into like a collective of different Fantastic Four characters, you can have many different actors playing many different roles. So I was thinking the compromise that we could have is like an older Fantastic Four team kind of interacts with the newer Fantastic Four team, but then when all the dust settles, the older versions of themselves kind of jump into the MCU while the younger versions go back to their original reality. So I was kind of thinking like have like a John Hamm play like a Reed Richards interacting with like, I can't remember what was his name, Miles Teller.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, like have like older actors kind of like you can have anybody. You can have like a black Reed Richards, an Asian Reed Richards, a woman Reed Richards. You can have like all these different actors and actresses playing these versions in like this one little like in between reality. But then like kind of maybe move on to like a more experienced team of like, people like a John Hamm or like I was kind of thinking about Jennifer Morrison from House.
Yeah. Cameron, right?
Yeah, as a Sue Storm, and then have them kind of like push into, because it'd be the first time I think in really any kind of movie ever where they reboot or remake or recast that you actually have the actors hand off the role to another set of people. So then you kind of it kind of gets over the whole reboot fatigue, because then it's kind of like, oh, okay, actually this makes sense. Why is this happening? This is actually part of the story.
They're addressing it in story.
Yeah. And then like you have them for like half the movie, and then you have the rest of the movie be the established older Fantastic Four team jumping into the MCU because their reality was destroyed.
They kind of X-Men's kind of like done that a little bit over the years.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
yeah. But I get what you mean. Thanks to Matthew Vaughn, who would be excellent for this movie.
Yeah. Well, then that kind of works. Yeah, it kind of works because he is really good at mixing already established genres with new versions of them. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
How about for Johnny and the Thing?
Well, I think the Thing is just going to be CGI, right? I think the problem that they make is they try to cast like recognizable actors into these roles, and then they're only there for like 10 minutes. And then you have Fantastic Four Part 2 where you got to come up with reasons why Michael Chiklis is not the Thing anymore.
Right.
And
Michael Chiklis.
What's his name? Shitlist?
It's Chiclets.
Oh, is it? Oh, Chiclets. I'm sorry.
The gum.
Yeah, but it's like in keeping with like finding reasons why Spider-Man is taking his mask off because we hired a actor who we want to show his face to. Like don't have an actor be the Thing if you want to see that actor's face.
If you say Andy Serkis, I'm leaving.
Oh God, no. Because it's just gonna be his voice. It's gonna be a CGI character, monster rock thing.
So you'd have, who would be the vocal performance then, possibly?
I don't know. That's not really. I don't know. I didn't really come that far with
the
it.
Allstate guy.
Oh, the guy from 24, the president from 24, whatever.
Sorry, he can't shake that Allstate. He's the Allstate guy.
No, man. if you need insurance.
Don't even try. There's only one person that can do it.
Yeah, you're right.
Any other roles that you want to
I mean, like with the whole idea of like multiple versions of these characters, I would be, maybe Michael B. Jordan would want to come back and be like the Johnny Storm again, but then he's the only one that actually moves forward with the franchise if he wants to. I mean, he's in he's in Black Panther, so we can't do that.
No, yeah.
Damn, Marvel recasting their characters.
There's a little flaw in your plan.
I don't know. What about like who's
all Human Torches must go to Marvel Universe except
eventually
as a Fantastic Four member.
Well, if something comes to you, we'll come back to you, Mark.
Yes.
Jason, how about for you?
Initially, I was saying like if it's a younger cast, if they're going to go that origin path, I'm just going to be really boring and say it should be all completely unknown actors, people that we haven't seen that much, and just people that we can look at the character first rather than the actor. Okay. So for this segment, I think I'm going to go with like an older cast, like the concept of an older established team. I don't think it can happen. This is just kind of like a dream team, but I got a couple choices for each. I was looking at for Mr. Fantastic. I think someone like Tim Robbins would work really well. I think somebody older that could handle like a more stoic side, like kind of show off the genius a little bit more. I think he would be a pretty sweet choice. I didn't really have many others for Mr. Fantastic, except what's the dude from Walking Dead, Rick Grimes? What's his name again?
Andrew Lincoln.
Yeah, I think he could do a decent job. Maybe get out of the Walking Dead world for a minute and see him in something else.
Crazy eyes though. Every time I look at him, I'm just like, this guy's crazy.
Well, let's go with Tim Robbins then. Because, I don't know. I just think he could work. I could see it working. For Invisible Woman, I think I got two, and I'm pretty excited. I think either Laura Dern or Anna Torv from Fringe would be a really good job. I think Anna Torv would be almost perfect because she's already doing a lot of that stuff that's like heavy on her mind and kind of supernatural in Fringe, and she perfected it. She was amazing in that show, and I think she's old enough to be able to play like an older version, and I just think she would own it. For Torch, I don't know. I have a little trouble figuring this one out. The first thing that came to my mind, which is weird, was Garrett Hedlund for some reason. Maybe because I just saw Pan not that long ago, and he was just really charismatic in that movie. And I think he was kind of onto something. And I could picture him with that same energy, maybe a little bit more toned down version of Human Torch.
He played Hook in Pan?
He was Hook. Yeah. And he was in Tron, the new Tron.
Oh yeah, that guy. Huh.
I think he'd be really cool, and he's a little bit older than these like kind of newcomers that keep getting cast, and I think he would own it. I think he'd be really good. Or this is a long shot because I think I haven't seen him that great in anything, but Justin Hartley, who played Arrow in Smallville, and I think he's doing like daytime soaps or something now.
Yeah, that's where he got started with soap operas. So I
think he went back to soap operas because my dad was watching one and he was walking around in it, and I was like, no, you're going backwards.
He's a very pretty boy.
But I think he could probably do it. But Garrett Hedlund would be my first choice. And then Thing, I was thinking, I see a lot of people talking about like Vince Vaughn because he's kind of got the face for it. But I was thinking more Jeffrey Dean Morgan for this.
Got a rock face.
He's just got a stoic rock face, got a little meat to him. But I think Jeffrey Dean Morgan would probably be if I could handpick somebody, I think he would be really good for it.
All right.
Even the mocap and stuff.
Yeah.
And other than that, I only cast Doom, which would without a doubt be Mads Mikkelsen. I think that would be epic. And that guy would just own that role and redefine it. Second choice would be Rufus Sewell.
Now, Mads Mikkelsen, was he Le Chiffre?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, that guy. He's in all kinds of great movies. So he's a heavy hitter.
I had a Johnny Storm come to me.
All right.
Jake McDormand.
Okay.
Who's that?
He played the main guy in the Limitless TV show.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Did anybody watch that?
I saw the promos. He seemed pretty good.
Oh, he's great.
No.
He's a good looking, but he's very charismatic and charming, but also very silly and serious. And I think he could actually probably knock it out of the park.
I think Matt Mikkelsen's in Doctor Strange.
Yes, he is. I was about to say, I think he's the bad guy in Doctor Strange.
Which is cool too.
But hey, if we're getting into this parallel thing, it's like I'd say we can keep some people on the table and stuff.
We'll go with Rufus Sewell then.
Rufus Sewell? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Here are some of my choices. Just roll them around in your mouth. Let's see how they taste. That sounded
disgusting.
Weird.
I will not.
I will not, good sir.
Rated R for Right On.
It's funny you mentioned Jeffrey Dean Morgan for Thing, Jason, because for Reed Richards, I actually suggested Patrick Wilson.
Oh, nice. We got a whole like Watchmen thing going on.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, like a whole Watchmen reunion. He was supposed to be an Ant-Man at one point, but he had to drop out. So, but give him his due as Reed Richards, maybe. For Sue Storm, another person who I really would have liked for another female Marvel character, but we're getting someone else, but that's okay. I wanted Katie Sackhoff maybe as a Sue Storm. Like I want to kind of see a really kind of tough Sue Storm in this. I feel like Sackhoff could pull that off.
She'd be fracking perfect.
I was a Cylon for you.
Oh, okay. Puns. For Johnny, to kind of go along with another choice, you said Matthew Vaughn. I thought Taron Egerton, Eggsy from Kingsman.
Yeah.
Eddie the Eagle.
Was once rumored to be Cyclops. That didn't happen.
Nope, and he was also in the running for young Han Solo.
That didn't happen.
So let's give him a role that everyone else keeps getting. So, for Ben Grimm, the ever-loving blue-eyed thing. Now, yeah, I kind of agree. It's like, in my pitch, they've already kind of been established in the background. He'd already be the thing, and it would be a lot of CGI and stuff. But I'd say for the motion capture performance and the voice especially, because I just rewatched The Iceman again, Michael Shannon, voice of the thing. I just love his voice.
Michael Shannon. That's a good one, man. I like that.
For villains, I actually had two in mind. For Doom, I admit now in retrospect compared to some of the ones that were mentioned here. Mark Strong.
He's overplayed villain, man.
Yeah, he's a little too much in the villain role these days.
Snaggletooth.
I'll concede Mark Strong maybe for Rufus Sewell. For Mole Man, Dinklage.
Oh.
Dinklage for Mole Man.
That's not demeaning.
God help me. I'm going to find a way to put Dinklage in one of these remakes. I almost had a shot of him being Clown in the Spawn one. Nope. I'm throwing in.
Dude, make him one of the Reed Richards in my version.
Alternate Reed Richards. Mole Man Richards.
No, man, just a scientist who doesn't have to be a mole man. He's a dude who's short.
I think he should play all of Mole Man's little like minions.
Oh, it's all of like CGI him everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, come on.
Like copy paste. Mike, who was your Sue Storm?
Katie Sackhoff, Starbuck.
Oh, that's right.
We got some interesting casting choices. I'm sure we're going to come back to a discussion for all of these. Moving on to the next round, which is marketing.
Marketing the movie and release.
What do we do with this property? We've got our director. We've shot our movie. How do we go about selling, what would this be, the, I guess, officially fourth version of the Fantastic Four to people, counting the Corman? How do we market this to people who are like, this again?
Yeah, that's tricky, man, because it's been tainted. It's been through 2 iterations now, which are pretty poor.
Well, that's why I'm starting with you. Go for it, Jason.
Wait, I have an idea if you want me to jump in. Take a little bit of the load off of you.
Phone a friend, Jason? Phone a friend?
I can do it, but you seem to have a momentum, so go for it.
All right. So have you ever seen that fan-made movie poster of like Flashpoint, where it's the Barry Allen from the CW show, but like shattered around him is like every version of every DC superhero? That's like.
Just yesterday I was wasting all my time looking up fake pictures for things that don't exist. Yeah, I totally saw that. Not.
Okay, awesome. So you know what I'm talking about then?
No idea what you're talking about.
Oh wow! It was like basically they're playing on the idea that like Flashpoint in the CW show would like shatter every DC universe that's ever happened, like the new movies, the old movies, every TV show, every like spin-off TV show.
I saw it, Mark. Yeah.
Okay. So thank you, Mike. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So yeah, like if you do a marketing where it's like multiple versions of like every Fantastic Four, Reed Richards, Sue Storm, kind of like in a poster being like shattered realities or like kiss your reality goodbye, like that could be kind of cool.
How about everybody that wants to play, and we get 6 versions of each character, we put them on a big old poster, and then we have the audiences of America phone in and choose their choice. Everybody's contractually obligated to do it if they win the contest.
There you go. Yeah, so then when the movie actually moves forward, it's with the actors that the American people want to see.
It's like,
and it's beautiful because they just say, you picked it, it'll be our fault when it fails.
No, it'll be your fault. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm not phoning in. That's $2.99. You kidding me?
Oh man, just text it. It's only like 95 cents if you text it.
Yeah, but then they got all your data.
Okay, I'll do it. Can I borrow your phone for a minute? I gotta call my aunt.
So my marketing pitch would be like a kiss your reality goodbye kind of thing. Like just playing on the idea of like old movie, new movie, old movies, all kind of the same thing. Like it all kind of exists in the same space.
So you really want to acknowledge that we get it sucked, but in a classy way, and say, let's move forward together because these characters are iconic.
Yes, and we'll do it in the way that's like not like burning house again, because because Marvel's kind of screwed the pooch a little bit with Spider-Man. It's like this is the 3rd Spider-Man that we have now, and it's like people have to kind of keep having to like reaccept a new actor, a new world, a new universe. Like just own it and be like, yeah, you know what, we screwed up. again, so now let's acknowledge that like this all takes place in the same place. So like it was not all for nothing. Like Andrew Lincoln was Spider-Man. Like Ion Griffield, whatever his name was Reed Richards at some point. Like
Rick Grimes was Spider-Man.
Yeah, Rick Grimes is Reed Richards. I don't know. Like it all had value. Like it wasn't just like failed attempts. It was like actually like realities that are existing somewhere else. It's kind of like what DC's doing. There's a Flash on the TV and there's a Flash in the movie, but it's a multiverse, so there's many different versions.
Okay,
all right.
Jason.
Yeah, I think, well, I was going to save this for discussion, but I guess this can be kind of part of this. I think really what we've learned from The Punisher and from Ghost Rider and probably from Blade in the near future is when you fail a few times on the big screen, you go to the small screen. And honestly, if I had to pick, I think the only way Fantastic Four is going to work is if they do like a Netflix show or something on TV, which will obviously kind of be tough since it's extremely CG heavy for the most part, especially with a character like Ben Grimm. But I honestly have a really hard time seeing this work on the big screen like in the next 10 years. I think a TV series may be able to do it. And it'd have to be something like super smart, like maybe focusing on one character at a time for like a season and just like flesh them out and then team them up near the end or something. But it's tough. It's a tough sell when you start thinking about like the public and marketing it and putting posters up and having like tie-ins. I think people are honestly over the Fantastic Four.
Because it's not like the Fantastic Four were like the most popular comic book characters out there.
Yeah,
so it's like people are eager for more.
It's like the Guardians of the Galaxy. It's like there was nothing at stake because nobody really cared. Like, if it was a flop, it wouldn't really bother anybody. It'd be like, oh, it's a flop because it was based off something stupid that nobody cared about. But with Fantastic
Four, like doing a third remake of Alpha Flight. You're like, ugh, I didn't need the first one. Now I'm getting a third one. Like, what are you doing, Marvel?
But yeah, something's wrong because, when I think of Marvel, Fantastic Four is like in the top 5 things I would say, they're big. They're big time. They're, think about it. Like you talked about Secret Wars. That was basically a love letter to Fantastic Four, like these are totally like huge Marvel properties that are not being done correctly.
So you've both thrown down quite an interesting gauntlet for discussion. We had Mark in the very beginning saying like, let's not shy away from the fact that there were previous incarnations. Let's embrace that wholeheartedly. And now we have Jason here saying, you know what? Maybe feature film isn't the format for this property. You guys have made my second episode very challenging. My 2 cents on the marketing here, and I'm gonna try to get into discussion here with some compromise, is that I believe there's merit to both of your kind of ideas of that. It's like maybe this could be the property that not only can transcend company division, but also universe or format division as well. Is that maybe this could be the property that can exist in both television and feature. Maybe not to the extent that they get their own features, perhaps. I do. When you said series to kind of give the characters more opportunity to develop, that actually could feed in a little bit more to your idea, Mark, of having multiple versions of each character. You could actually have a whole episode dedicated to alternate Johnny Storms or whatever, working together or figuring things out, or have a whole season dedicated to an alternate several realities and so forth. So that's interesting now. But I feel one very vital thing that I feel people would get on board for, and it ties into what you were saying about the Spider-Man constant reboots, is that, this is going to be our third Spider-Man coming up. I feel what's keeping people jazzed is that it's the first Spider-Man that's officially under this new direction from the Marvel Studios, is that it's not on its own with Sony, just doing whatever. Sony's involved, but Marvel's got the creative control, and I feel that's maintaining the fan base's excitement very much so, is that this will be like not just part of the universe they've come to love on screen on the television series, but hopefully the truest and, like you were saying, Jason, most iconic version of the character, perhaps. So I feel whatever the marketing is going to be, because this is interesting development here, whatever the marketing is going to be, definitely stress the importance of, like, yes, you've seen Fantastic Four before, but here's Fantastic Four back at home. Here's Fantastic Four back where they belong. Let's get into discussion, shall we? And see what we can iron out with these new challenges you've issued here in discussion.
Loose ends, let's discuss.
let's get right into maybe the focus then. Regardless if it will be television series or feature film, story-wise, would we want to really explore this idea of parallel worlds, parallel Fantastic Fours? Would that be something you feel that the audience would get on board for?
I mean, there's that, but then there's also the option of if we have them kind of already have been around in the MCU, because we can all agree that we want this to be in the MCU if it's going to happen, right?
I think, I think that's a definitive for us. Is that maintaining?
I think
the MCU?
it has to for audiences, just for the audience. I don't think they're going to be accepted in any other format, really.
Yeah,
right.
And then, but we also don't want to see another origin story. So it's like, how do we establish that they've been around in the MCU for a while without ever having been acknowledged before?
I'll propose. I don't know if you guys will agree with this, but I'll take Mark's idea of having an alternate reality version of the Fantastic Four, but not the same cast as the old movie.
Yeah,
I think that would be a mistake. I think because then that would like tie in the other movie as technically the starting point, which isn't anything to do with the MCU, and I think that would kind of rub people the wrong way. But I do like the idea of them just being established, been through adventures, and then being like pulled in. And a way we could do that is by doing multiple versions and visiting that old cast, but they wouldn't settle.
Yeah, they wouldn't be the focus necessarily.
I mean, that's like a hoop dream, probably, just for like, political reasons, I'm sure.
What you were saying, it's a nice love letter to that previous existing universe. And there could be definitely some cool in-jokes or some nice references to the versions that came before, but definitely like it's not going to be the lasting thing. Is that perhaps have our new Fantastic Four cast be the ones who traverse these different realities and momentarily visit them.
Yeah, and they could even be like, if we get a new cast that does meet the old cast, they could just be like, they weren't that bad, were they? Like, no, they're fine. Like, they helped out a lot.
All right.
How cool would that be, though? Like, opening of the new Fantastic Four movie we're talking about is like this new like Fantastic Four cast, and it's like them like in an Earth that's falling apart, and they're like trying to like get into a ship that's going to jump them out of there, and then like a second later they're in the MCU, and they're like, all right, let's see if this reality has a Tony Stark, it's like, I would love that. That'd be so awesome.
So and that in a way that really ties into something I feel is missing in a lot of these more recent versions of the team is this crazy out there scientific exploration type thing, because they are explorers.
They tried to do that in the new one, but I just don't think it worked.
Yeah, they tried to do it. It didn't have the impact I felt it needed. This idea of, let's explore parallel universes, let's explore different timelines and so forth, that ties in very much with the exploration that has been kind of the running theme of the characters for decades now. So we're settled on the idea of, yes, the folks could be they visit alternate realities or visit different versions of themselves, but our access point is a new version of the cast or
I would go as far as saying it could even just be like the Tim Story version and the latest version. Like we wouldn't have to go into like a billion different ones. It could just kind of revisit where we've been, and that in itself could be the origin, and then just kind of get that out of the way quick.
All right.
I mean, you could do like a Triple X thing where, remember, like in Triple X 2, they kind of talk about how Vin Diesel died like off camera.
Yeah.
You can have like Fantastic Four movie kind of bring up photos of the old, like the remake Fantastic Four people being like, oh man, I can't believe we lost them. Or like,
speaking of lost them, I think audiences listening right now, seeing that we all just casually okayed that we knew what you're talking about in Triple X2, probably stop listening. So I think it's just us now, guys.
I think if someone's listening to a show about us, like a bunch of nerds proposing a reboot of a movie that's already come out, they made it this far, I think we're safe. I think they
might have seen Triple X2 and feel the same way.
Oh boy, sorry.
All right.
Okay, no problem. Now we lost them. Sorry, that was my bad.
Okay, so we got the premise down, or at least the focus that we would want. Director, you had two choices here, Matthew Vaughn, Michel Gondry. Either one of you willing to concede to the other choice?
Michel Gondry might be too out there for what we're trying to do.
Well, I would love to see a Michel Gondry Fantastic Four movie, but I'm not sure it's going to happen.
It would have to be not so bombastic as I'm trying to think it's going to be. So.
I mean, I think that it just doesn't fit the mold with the other things we're saying.
Yeah, but don't you think there's got to be someone else out there though? Because I mean, like Matthew Vaughn can't be the continual go-to guy for like.
Well, like what about like Joe Carnahan? He was my second choice. The guy that did A-Team reboot, and he did that movie with Liam Neeson with the wolves. What was that movie called?
The Gray.
The Gray, yeah. I mean, that dude's a rock star with action. Like, he can do it, and he's Matthew Vaughn-esque. But I mean,
it's kind of a good point.
I don't know. I just think Matthew Vaughn would be like my dream choice.
Well, here's the thing too: is that if we're gonna get into the marketing stuff or the distribution of this, if we're talking series, you can have more than one person kind of running as like showrunners at least or producers on this.
Yeah.
So those people could still be involved in some way, shape, or form. Maybe bring on Michel Gondry as a guest director. I know this is getting really specific, but if we go the show route, maybe that should be what we tackle next. If we go the series route and just maybe have them have limited screen time in features and really focus on.
Doesn't do guest directing jobs.
Is that a fact?
What's he doing right now?
Post directing jobs.
I'm just afraid of this turning into like the Sliders reboot.
Hey, you introduced that whole Sliders angle.
Well, yeah, but
technically
you're contradicting yourself.
Yeah, well, but it was before it turned into like a TV show about them jumping around in realities.
Well, we're doing movies, right? Let's settle on movie.
Okay.
Let's settle on
movie.
All right, movie.
But because TV is that's a whole nother discussion. In my opinion, it will only successfully work if it's TV, but I would prefer it to be a movie.
All right. So let's say definitively movie director. We up between Carnahan and Vaughn still, or do we want to commit to one?
I'm up for suggestions, but I don't know. Matthew Vaughn's just kind of my token.
I'm still siding with you on the Vaughn. Actually, I'm trying to envision it, but he's done a good job so well, not just with adaptation of comic book material and making it work for the silver screen, but
plus think about
talking about the iconography, and it worked for.
Well, Mark Millar did a lot of that Ultimate Fantastic Four stuff too, so I think like he's just in the right mind frame for this kind of property. I think.
Who's Drew Goddard?
The Daredevil. Yeah, he.
And I was thinking because I looked up who did the Martian.
The Martian.
Yeah,
Ridley
Scott. Matt Damon.
Ridley Scott.
Was that Ridley Scott?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then Ridley Scott should do this.
Ridley Scott.
I'm trying to think of like the best sci-fi, like hardcore, like actual science movies that have come out in the past few years.
I mean, yeah, people trash Prometheus constantly, but Ridley Scott's kind of the master of sci-fi. He's done so many great ones.
And he's coming back. He's not above coming back.
Neil Gaiman
or doing franchises.
Who did Looper? That was
Rian Johnson.
Yeah, he might be good. Get the whole sci-fi angle there because he did that. I don't know. What about Duncan Jones?
Well, we're adding to the plate now. We got to start taking some stuff off here.
Okay, let's just get Edgar Wright and just move on from it.
You think you come back to Marvel?
Yeah, that's true.
I'm sticking with Matthew Vaughn. That's my 2 cents. You guys figure it out.
You know what? We might have to put it to a vote. I'm voting for Matthew Vaughn as well. Sorry, Mark.
Yeah, well, I'm
just for the sake of moving along, because these are all great ideas, but just for the sake of getting some final choices down here.
I'm going to fight you on all of these until I get my way. But all right, now.
Mark starts to argue when you don't hear the ice anymore.
Yeah. I was like, I haven't heard any clinking any time.
Because it melted, and I'm angry about it. All right, Matthew Vaughn.
Matthew Vaughn. All right.
I'll find somewhere to concede to you later.
Yeah, that's usually what it is. It's like there's some cool compromise that takes place later on.
It's a 2 out of 3 though, so we just got to move on.
So for let's just stick with the core 4 for this point now. For our cast of characters and Doom.
Yeah.
No, because he's there when the accident happens.
Alternate Dinklage Reed Richards is off the table. Yeah. All right. For Reed, we have Tim Robbins, John Hamm, Patrick Wilson.
I still think John Hamm should be Doctor Strange, so I kind of want him to be in the Marvel Universe at some point.
He's a beefaholic, though. You think he's going to fit that kind of dweeby science role? It's got to be someone that's kind of tough, but dweeby.
Dude, people can slim down, it's dieting.
Yeah, but I'm just saying the way he carries himself.
Yeah, but it's not his fault that he was born both beautiful and brilliant.
He's got a more comedic side to him, definitely. He could play distracted.
Maybe this is where I concede.
I feel bad about conceding to Jason on the Matthew Vaughn thing. I'm going to concede to Mark on this. I like John Hamm.
All right, good John Hamm. Let's do it. But we're even from this point forward. You're on your own.
Totally.
No compromises.
No more compromises. Yes,
Jason, for Susan, you want to stick with your choice of Anna Torv?
I'm going Anna Torv.
I will also go with Anna.
You're forfeiting Jennifer Morrison for Anna Torv.
Oh, Anna Torv all the way for everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's perfect in every way. I love her.
So that,
And
so
when
that's
you
two
look
for-
at her, you get like a total like sci-fi feel. So
Okay.
she kind of brings a lot to the table.
Yeah, I think she's actually kind of perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 2 for Anna Torv, so that automatically outranks my Katie Sackhoff vote, so let's go with Anna Torv. We'll find something else for Katie Sackhoff. She could be a Skrull or something.
Have fun with Riddick Force, Sackhoff.
Sucker.
Okay,
With Xander.
Again, Jason, I have to defer to you. Toss up between Garrett Hedlund or Justin Hartley for your Johnny Storm. Which one
Garrett.
you feeling? All right,
He's my number one.
We got Garrett Hedlund from Jason, Jake McDormand from Mark, Taron Egerton from me.
I don't have experience with Mark's character. I don't watch, what is it, Limitless? So I'm not 100% sure. I can't say yes or no. And then I know your choice would work good with Matthew Vaughn. I just think I don't know. He's tough to see, but I wouldn't be completely opposed to him. He just doesn't seem as charismatic as the character would need. I think we need someone with a little bit more high energy instead of just kind of like being a badass.
You know what? I'll concede to the Garrett Hedlund. I'm sorry, Mark. I'm not familiar with Jake McDormand.
Well, and you never will be because he won't get cast in the Fantastic Four movie. So
I'm going to look him up really quick.
That's the great thing about Marvel, at least, is that there's plenty of other roles that we can get to know him as.
I don't know. Did you guys see Pan, the new Peter Pan movie?
I had not.
Yeah.
It's actually really good. Like, it's way better than I thought it was going to be.
So we're thinking Garrett Hedlund for Johnny then.
Yeah, I mean, I might change my mind if I ever watch Limitless, but only because I don't know. It's not like I choose one or the other. I just don't know.
I liked him in Tron. So
Wait, what's his name? I'm going to look him up.
Jake McDormand.
Okay, I see. Oh, yeah, he's good. He looks like him.
We flipping back over to
No, I'm not flipping. I'm just trying to figure out who the hell he is.
Yeah, I think I'm Garrett Hedlund. That's right.
He's a good choice. He works. I think
Garrett
he's
Hedlund's or Johnny. For Ben, Jason, you said Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Mark, you said CGI. It doesn't matter. I said Michael Shannon. So now it comes down between.
I'm conceding to Michael Shannon. I think that's a much better choice.
I love his voice. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah,
and it would it would just be voice works and probably not as demanding. And I think that would work. I think that's actually perfect.
And honestly, if they base like the look of the thing, kind of like what they did with Mark Ruffalo in the Hulk, because Shannon's got. He's got kind of a gargoyle-ish type of face, a little bit. I mean, he's still handsome. He's a handsome man.
Live
but
action movie. You got it. I think that's it.
Our Doom, though. Oh, I conceded Mark Strong, so never mind.
Yeah.
Mads Mikkelsen's out because he's in Doctor Strange, and then my choice is Rufus Sewell, but I forget what your guys' were.
I didn't have one, but Rufus Sewell, I love him.
And I conceded Mark Strong right away because he's done this role to death.
Well, because when you think of Doom, at least when I do in comic books, you think of the eyes first, like peering through the metal, and I just think Rufus Sewell would be a pretty haunting Doom.
He's got those crazy eyes, though. Also.
But he could also be like kind of like charming too if they ever want to go like do a flashback or have some kind of science reason for him to look like his original self. Like I think he could do both really well.
And actually, is he about the same age as Ham?
Probably.
Yeah, because they could do flashbacks of when they were in school together or when they were comrades. For marketing. Since we're going movie-wise, agreeing on the fact that like posters of all the alternate old Fantastic Four properties with these new ones.
It could be kind of cool if it's done right.
What I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to try to construct something of a mock poster, perhaps, that incorporates the idea you mentioned, Mark, the alternate universe angle with this new cast and with our choice for director on this. There's always potential. We could always revisit this concept in a different format, perhaps, if we want to go the route of, say, television series. Perhaps it's like, what would it take to remake Fantastic Four for the small screen? But we'll keep that in our back pocket for right now. But, you know who we didn't get to? Submariner.
Oh.
Yeah,
I think it's fine.
And then the marketing could have been like Subway Mariners, Fish Fresh, Fuckathon. I don't even know.
Oh man, you've been listening to the Remake Revolution here on GTV. Thank you again, Jason Fury and Mark Espinoza from NeverEndingRadicalDude.com. Again, check them out over at www.NeverEndingRadicalDude.com or on the YouTube site for Nerd, which is Rad Nerds, correct?
Yeah, that's it. Rad Nerds.
Or you can follow them at Twitter at NerdPoop. And once again, I am Mike McG here at youtube.com/Mike McGTV or on Twitter at Mike McGTV. Thank you guys so much for this very entertaining remake.
My pleasure.
And we'll see you next time here on the Remake Revolution.